Hey Ross World, today I'm going to briefly go through some research apps for your individual stocks, also your mutual funds and your ETFs and also your index funds. But let's check these out. My first app is the J Stock. The J Stock app is well developed, it's easy and it's simple. You just put on your watch list or any stocks that you already have. You load them into your portfolio as you see mine, from Berkshire and Hathaway to Citigroup, Coca-Cola, Lowe's, Rite Aid, and all the way down to the bottom of Activision Blizzard. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a stock here to show you because this is plain and simple. Goldman & Sachs. You hit Goldman & Sachs, and right off the back here, you see a graph, and then you also have Goldman & Sachs News. And you can go in, and this is where you do your research once again. You go and read news stories about Goldman & Sachs. I have plenty. And then you say, well, hey, I want to know more about the stock's trend. So you can go, hey, 1 year. As you can tell here, you have 7 days, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, so on and so forth, okay? Then what I like about this is, if you just hit this graph up here, and I'm going to flip it, you can actually follow the timeline. You can actually follow the timeline here, and you hold it, and you just basically go through the timeline, and it shows you all the money it's been gaining and losing. Okay, this follows your thumb as I'm putting pressure on the screen back and forth. Okay, and that's basically it about this app. That is basically it about this app. It's not too much to this app. You get news and you get statistics as far as the graph, and that's about it. And you can watch your the changes of the last positions held, meaning how the market went that day on your particular stock. That's about it for this app, okay? So let's get into one of my favorite apps, which is the Nasdaq app. I absolutely love this one. It's not my top one because the Bloomberg app, which we'll get into, is my top. Okay, search company. You put in the symbol. So let's go with Citigroup. Citigroup, notorious. You picked the right one. Okay, I'm sorry I have to keep moving around my picture here. It's moving everywhere. But you have your summary quote, and then it tells you Citigroup. It tells you how it performed that day, what it closed at, which is $61.53. It tells you the 1 year target. It tells you today's high and lows. It gives you the year's high and low. The low of this year in 50. Think about this. The low is $38.31 in 52 weeks, and it's doubled in a year. And individual stocks are a little more riskier than your ETFs, mutual funds, and index funds. Okay, it just depends though. A company like Citigroup, banks and whatnot, they have really strong position in the financial market, and a lot of companies that give out dividends, those are really old established companies that don't really have that much growth. So they may grow $1 or $2, but don't look at it to grow like this. And the reason for that, when a stock gives out dividends, they really establish a strong base, and their market capital is not going to grow as much. So now they can afford to really give out dividends to the investors so they can for people to still invest in them. That's another story. Back to Citigroup, okay? So it has your information, it has your PEO ratios, your analyzed dividends, and you come down here, you have your chart, okay, your 1 year chart, and people like looking at graphs and how their money grew. You can look through that, and I like how you can just scroll through with your finger, and it jumps, and it's giving you their price on the right-hand side here, and also you look at the bottom, this is 2013, and you can just move your thumb across the graph, and it gives you the highs and lows, okay? And for you mathematicians out there, it has the positions under in red and green. So let's move right along. This next part, Nasdaq official price. I like that, okay? It opened up 13th, okay? And it was at $61.06. Then it closed at $61.53. So whoever had Citigroup made some money. Plain and simple. I love it. So ETFs, those exchange traded funds with Citigroup as top 10 holding. What does that mean? These ETFs that you see, these particular symbols for the ETFs, contain Citigroup in them. Remember we talked about ETFs and how they are a collection of stocks. So an ETF with Citigroup in it has probably deal with financial management companies and also banks like I own Citigroup and Wells Fargo, so and also U.S. Bank. So they're probably all in the same sector. I don't know, but they're going to have banks in that ETF that support Citigroup. So right now, look at the IYG. It went up 29.10%. Okay, great margins right here. And so these particular, if you want to invest in Citigroup or other banks that contain Citigroup, look at these particular ETFs. I love this app. Okay, this is a really good app. Then you come down, it gives you the company description. It tells you all about Citigroup. Citi has approximately 200 million customer accounts and does business in more than 140 countries. World Bank. Okay. As I keep scrolling down, it giving you Citigroup featured stories. Anything happened to do with Citigroup. I'm glad I did not buy GoPro stock. Okay, we're going to get into the consensus recommendations. I'm going to go through that really quickly. Citigroup news, and that's it. It says drag to see more. But we're going to get into the analyst research, which I love. Right now, to me, this looks like this is a strong buy. So let's see. All right, there it is, folks. Detailed analysis recommendations. The Zacks people, or Zacks group, telling strong buy, strong hold with a small probability of selling. I wouldn't sell Citigroup, and I'm not going to sell Citigroup, because if I told anybody my story about Citigroup back in 2009 when the stock was like $4 and $3, I bought 500 of them. Okay, so I spent $2,000. Then I sold them when the stock depreciated down to $3, and then I only have 2 left. So I basically lost $27,000 because the other day it was at $62 per stock. Yes, I'm an idiot. And that's why I advise people, because I made a lot of mistakes and I don't want you to make the same mistakes. Certain companies you just don't sell. Anyway, now that I finished crying, money gone. It has your earnings growth. It gives you the percentages there. You have your price earnings. You have your earnings surprise. You have your detailed estimates. It has all your analytical research right here. And guess what? If you don't understand this stuff, research it. Google it, okay? You have your PG ratios. That's good to look at sometimes. And that is about it. Now, at the bottom, you see home, news, quotes, and settings. Those are basic. It's going to give you random news. You can go and search for quotes on certain companies and then your home button. I'll hit home just in case you want to see that. And bam, Nasdaq, of course, shows first. It's the Nasdaq app. You have your Dow Industries to give you that, and your S&P 500. And then it can show you all markets, okay? Here we go. Nasdaq, Russell, blah, 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 okay? Things you probably don't want to even look at. But I'm done with this app. Let's move on to the last and final app. I'm backing out. Let me get out of here. Oop, too far. Now, let's get into the Bloomberg app. Now, this is my number one app. Number one. And I'm going to tell you why. As you come on here, looks like a Japanese app or stock at the top, but it kind of seems overwhelming at first, but it really isn't. And I'm going to show you why. This has your regular stock news here. You can go ahead and read these stories if you want to know about certain things that's going on in the world. But let's get right into this bottom row down here, markets. What I like about this is it goes and tell you your global markets. Now, if you guys are internationally trading stocks on the global market, great, okay? I haven't really got there yet. I don't think I will. I'm going to stay in America. I live in America. I understand America. But international businessmen, they do global, okay? And as you can tell, they have the KOSPI, the South Korea one, which I'm over here now. I may get into it. They're doing pretty good. The Euro Stock 50, the S&P 500, that's, of course, US and Australia. And then what I like is if I scroll down here, it tells you what stocks are doing really well. Okay, the Mobile INV, okay? So that's the symbol, M by LY, and then it's a US stock, and it did 28.24% today. And then the next one is a Japanese company, because it has JP. And then you have your CTXS, that's US, that's America. And then another and 2 more Japanese companies, okay? Then it also tells you losers. US, Japanese, US, United Continental Airline, American Airlines, They really need to lower those damn fees. That's the problem. Anyway, then you can go over to Americas. Yes, Mexico has a stock market, and also Brazil. And it gives us our top three: Dow Jones, S&P 500, and Nasdaq. Okay. Then you can click on these, and they'll give you the information. But instead of doing that, because I don't own none of those, I will get into your gainers. Sirius XM is doing phenomenally. I'm glad I bought them at $3 because now they're at $5. And that's important to know because reading stock market news, looking at analytical research really tell you. So I'm going to come right back to that and look at Wynn. Wynn is doing really good. Wynn Resorts is in Las Vegas. I don't know if they're worldwide, but I say that the Encore at the Wynn, which they're twin buildings. His wife owns one, he owns one. They're separated or divorced. I don't know, but they're phenomenal resorts. 5-star. If you have the money to splurge a little bit because you're doing well in investing, you're doing well in savings, you got all your bills paid, go to the Wynn. I'm not a sponsor, but man, that hotel is phenomenal. I like it. I love it. They have an all-day beach party in a villa within the Wynn, and also they have clubs that everybody comes to. Okay, of course, everybody who stayed at the resort may say MGM, whatever. The Wynn is classy. Okay, and here's your losers. Snapchat. I'm glad I didn't buy Snapchat. I don't really buy social media apps. If I do, they may be contained in an ETF, but not individual stock. It's just too volatile. You know, somebody don't use Snapchat today because I think Facebook is making something called Poke because Facebook offered Snapchat, I think $14 billion, and he said no, then became public, and ever since he's been doing bad. That doesn't mean he won't do well. That doesn't mean that the stock won't bounce back. I just don't get into the whole social media app thing, okay? Then Dick's Sporting Goods, we know who's beating them out. It's called Amazon because Amazon sells everything. You got Amazon, Alibaba Express, DH Gates, all these Chinese companies and also American companies really crushing retail stores. Okay, so let's get into, and then you have the European markets here: Germany, France, Spain, United Kingdom. If that's your thing, if you're over there in those countries, and then you have Asia, Hong Kong, China, Japan, so on and so forth, and they tell you the top gainers and stuff like that. I'm sick. Now I'm gonna go to my watch list. Okay. Now, since we talked about Siri, let's go through Siri and see how this looks. So from top to bottom, you have your rows and your columns. The very top row has symbol, last change, and then United States dollar. So the symbol, of course, those 3 or 4 letters, depending on which exchange that it's on. And then what was the last position, the last amount that the stock is worth. And then the change, meaning the percentage of dollars and percentage that it was at. Okay, so let's take Siri. And I love that it always had US right there. I don't know why. Okay, so if you look at your chart here, you have 1 day, 3 day, 1 month, 6 months, so on and so forth. And it tells you the positions, okay? And then you can change that as need be. Then also on the right and the green, it tells you the amount of percentage that it made for that day. Then it has your basic news, market capital, your PE ratios. The low of Siri was $3.74. Yes, I made money on Siri. Now it's $5.53. And I would definitely say I believe Siri on the course of 5 to 10 months. This is just me guessing, okay? Because they're doing digital media. They're branching out and doing all sorts of things. And guess what? Everybody's trying to get on Siri. So the more power people that go on Siri, they have their own show, the more money the stock is going to be worth because people are going to be investing their money into. I think it's going to be a $10 stock in probably 5 to 10 years. So it's at $5 right now. If I was you, I'd take a couple $100 and buy Siri and hold it. Okay, that's just my advice, and that's not my professional advice. That's just my advice. So don't hold me to it if it goes down to $1. All right. So it tells you what it opened and what it closed at. Okay. Company info. I love this. It tells you the sector, communication, industry, media. It tells you what exchange market on. So that could have easily been the New York Stock Exchange, but it tells you the Nasdaq. Then it tells you sub-industry, publishing and broadcasting. Then it gives you the company description. Then it gives you the key executives. So you can research these people, how old they are, if they have a swindle or embezzled or fraudulent anything that you may see, predict, say, oh, the stock is going up. He's been trustworthy. Do all your research. I do research on the CEOs of certain companies, especially like Tesla. And that's why Tesla stock was 280 within the last 52 weeks. Now it's at 240 something. I'm gonna keep Tesla because Elon Musk, he's really paving the way with all sorts of technology. He has SpaceX. He has a lot of things going on. Okay, so that's basically so you can get into what Siri News. It's going to give you all the news pertaining to Siri, and here it is. It's only one news story. Pandora's best option is deal with Mafia and Sirius. Siri, and I keep saying Siri because I'm reading the symbol, okay? But it's Sirius XM Radio, not Siri, the Apple thing, okay? Then financials. It's giving you that analytical research, which I always preach in those graphs, quarterly earnings, so on and so forth. Of course, your ads. It gives you annuals. Please stop doing that. Annuals, so on and so forth. Then you can click this down toggle here, balance sheet and cash flow. And you can get into that. So let's get into the key statistics. And right here, you have your PO ratios, all those things that you love. The only thing, in my opinion, that I believe is missing that the Nasdaq app really offers is the strong buy, strong hold. People really like seeing that. It really gives you confidence about should I hold it, should I sell it. But if you're not a day trader and you dealing with a really solid company, you have to do your research. Just hold it, okay? And then people say, you know, I keep saying hold it, hold your stocks, hold your stocks. People say, when do I sell them? A couple of reasons why you should sell them. One reason is you want your money to circulate within your own atmosphere. What am I talking about? So if you sold stock to put money down on a house, that's circulating into your atmosphere because you're taking capital to build capital. Because when you put money down on a house and you start to initiate, you start to build, you start to grow your equity in your home, it's still, you're taking money and putting with money to build money. I hope you got that. Okay. But when you're just selling stock to buy that $1,000 purse, or you sold stock to buy 10 pairs of Jordans, and I wouldn't even buy Jordans. I got a few pairs of Jordans, but they're $60 and $70. I don't really pay for tennis shoes over $80, okay? And I may never buy a pair of Jordans again. That's a long story. Not for this. So it gives you all that analytical research, which I always preach about. Okay, so then you got another one down here that says media. And as you can tell, it says video, audio, and shows. Videos dealing with stock market news, stocks, video. In case you don't want to hear someone like, me talk to you all day, you can watch the video, okay? 6-minute videos, 3-minute videos, and everything dealing with stocks. And sometimes they're going to have political news. You're like, how does political news deal with stocks? Believe me, anything political has something to deal with stocks. When Trump said, oh, Obama was wiretapping me, don't you know that some people was trying to find out what wiretapping company they use? They're like, well, the NSA. Well, what equipment did they use? Because they're thinking if the NSA or the State Department or the CIA or the FBI uses particular wiretapping technology from a particular company, people are going to buy stock. So that's why this is all. Everything is tied into each other, guys. I'm telling you, do your research, okay? And then you have your audio. It's kind of like podcasts. You could go in here and listen to people talk to you and get built up. I mean, I did some of these things, and it really helped me to get more financially minded and also understanding some terminologies, okay? And then you have your shows, which Bloomberg puts out. They have, Bloomberg Markets and Surveillance. They have all these different shows and audio. And then last but not least, you have your Discover, and you can discover things on the Bloomberg channel based upon their topics that they have here. Okay, guys? So that's basically it. I always talk about money makes money because it does, and your money needs to as well. Okay? So hopefully this was helpful. Get into these apps, use them for your ETFs, use them for your individual stocks, use them for your mutual funds. Learn about your stocks because, like I said, every 6 months to a year, you want to look at them to change and auto balance your stocks. And that just simply means, hey, you may not want to put 30% in this particular ETF. You may want to put 30% in another ETF and put this down to 10%, depending on how that stock did last year. That's auto balancing. I may make a quick video about that or not, but that is fairly easy. If something is not really working out, you change your allocation of percentages, and then you move on. But if it's still making money, but another one's making more money, then you allocate more funds into that. So if you have 100% of whatever amount that you have investing, and you have 30% going into a one that's just, doing okay, but you have one that's like blowing the game away, then you say, okay, well, I'm gonna put 15% of that and allocate another 15% of that. More money, more money, more money. Your money is making money. This is Ross World. I hope this was helpful. I'm out.